Hello. The Rumble, the last Rumble of the year. Yes, this is the last one because we have shows on all the time. We've pre-recorded some best of shows. We've put together some shows that are completely new and fresh. But it's the last Rumble of 2012. So it better be good. David Menzies. Hello, David.
I thought the last Rumble was going to be last week because I was expecting the world to end, this Mayan prophecy, Michael, those people that subscribe to it, here you got these Mayans, forecasting an event centuries ahead in the timeline and couldn't see the freaking Spanish off their own coast 500 years ago.
I
know. What?
Oh, David, fess up, you believed it, and now you're regretting those 18 tequilas last night.
But it's true, isn't it? Where are the Mayans now? Well, you've got to believe the Mayans. They're very clever people.
Well, we had to have today exist because it's the birthday for my twins.
Not just one twin.
I'm not just one
twin on one day, another twin on another. It was a very hard birth. Marion Mead Ward, lovely to have you here. So you've left your twins behind on their own.
With my husband.
Playing with the handguns you have at home.
Yeah, exactly.
And you've come
the whole
out,
arsenal.
Yeah. Well, that's a segue into it. Well, it's a very tragic issue. But of course, what happened in Connecticut, I think we've probably said all we have to say about what really happened, but it's a consequence now because gun control, is that really the solution? Isn't it evil people control we should be talking about?
Well, gun control has to be part of the solution. There's no question in my mind. And I still can't fathom that there were guns in the house of this very troubled young man. I can't fathom that. Some people are saying, well, we need to lock up schools. The school was locked.
No.
He shot off the locks. I think very definitely there has to be a serious conversation about mental health and mental health services. We see it in our own country that there are not enough services for people struggling with mental health. There is still enormous stigma, and I suspect Adam Lanza's mother, felt very stigmatized and didn't want to talk about it. She was a very private person. Until we have an appropriate dialogue about mental health and people get the help that they need.
He wasn't profound. What he did was symptomatic of profound mental illness, lunacy, but he didn't really appear to be mentally ill. He was a strange individual. They treated him like a...
This was a child that could not be around other people. He could not socialize in school. He had to be pulled out. This is
but then
not,
surely
this is
that's the
an
mother's
extreme
fault.
expression.
It's not that there were guns. It's the mother did not say, my golly, you should not be around guns. The mother's dead. I'm very sorry.
Yeah, well...
But I do blame her for a lot of this.
Oh, Michael, can I interject here? I'm afraid you got this point wrong. The mother was in the process of having Adam Lanza committed. When he found out that was what was happening...
She went away for 3 days and left him on his own.
No, but you see, this is the problem.
David, she did.
Yeah, but when you...
with guns in the house.
Do you know how hard it is to get somebody locked up?
Incredibly difficult.
Exactly.
But it's a lot easier, though, to say, here's some money, get out the house, I'm locking the doors, you can't get back in. She left him alone with guns in for 3 days.
Well, I'm telling you, this is where we have to have the reforms. It's in the mental illness debate. When you have somebody that is an identifiable risk, or even not, is of harm to their own self, we have to make it easier, like it was in the olden days, Michael, to put somebody away so that they don't harm others and they don't harm themselves.
It's in the middle. I think it was too easy in the past, so people with mental health issues were sometimes put into institutions when they shouldn't have been. But today I would agree with you. We've all probably met people w'ho've tried, out of love, they want to get their child into a hospital, Michael, and they can't do it.
But in the 60s, that's when this whole deinstitutionalization movement...
the same people behind that sort of thing are the people now saying we've got to control guns.
Oh, yeah, I know,
we
but
do.
this is the thing. We'll let the mental patients out of the asylums, and we give them little medication, so that'll self-medicate, it'll be cheaper for us. And did anyone think that, what if they don't take their meds?
Okay, people with mental health issues can function with medication, with therapy, with appropriate intervention. They can.
If they take it.
And most of them are non-violent. Most of them are totally
passive. But the solution isn't to lock everybody up. But it's not an either or. It's not either gun control or mental health solutions. It is both. It has to be. And putting the combination together, people should not be allowed to have guns in the household if there are people
this is where you're dead wrong. Because if you look at John... You're wrong.
And they shouldn't be allowed to have assault rifles.
No, if you look at John Lott's book, More Guns, Less Crime, that proves you're dead wrong, Marianne Mead Ward.
We have fewer guns in Canada, and we have less crime.
No. Actually, no. If you do the percentages of the mass shooting, it's about 10% of the U.S. rate. So it's about the same. The thing is, Michael, if you look at the chronology of Adam Lanza when he decided to take his own life, when did that happen? It was when the first responder with armed resistance came. What I'm saying is that if you had teachers with carry and conceal handguns, Well, you frown. But that
David,
would
I'm sorry,
that could have saved a lot of lives.
David, I don't really want to reach a state where we have teachers of 7-year-olds, women in their mid-20s, who have to conceal a weapon.
Guess what? We're there. We're at that state. Yes, we are.
That
Michael.
does not
yes,
make
we
it
are, Michael.
Answer me
for
this.
children.
I'm always suspicious of the state wanting more power. And a lot of the people who are crazy about we want more gun control are not kind, loving people. They don't really care about individuals. They just have an agenda. But maybe this is naive. Why do we need weapons that can fire 100 shots in a minute?
Well, if you look at hunters, I mean, this is, you're falling into the trap.
I'm just asking you a question. I'm not talking about, handguns, general handguns and for hunting and self-defense.
I know hunters in Texas, for example, where they hunt wild boar. In many occasions, the wild pigs, the hunter becomes the hunted, and you've got to be able to rattle.
So you're not hunting those animals in your own home. So you do not need that type of. I still don't believe you need that type of rifle to hunt a wild boar.
Oh, so we'll have a central agency where we go and check in our rifles,
where are
right?
these people hunting? There are usually hunting clubs, there are gun clubs, or there are lodges where people go to shoot on a terrain. You're not out in your backyard, you're not out at the local park, and you're certainly not doing it in your own house.
Well,
and so you don't need to store it there.
We have laws against cocaine use, Marianne Mead Ward. Guess what? People shoot up with cocaine every day.
If I may, though, there is this schizophrenia, if you'll forgive the pun, about American society, in that they can be so controlling of things. I mean, there's a Facebook thing going around now, but it's quite pertinent, because this happened to Mark Stein. What are those eggs called? A Kinder egg? He wasn't allowed to bring a Kinder egg across the border because it has some plastic bits in it that could choke millions of children. So they will control things like this, but major assault weapons are allowed. Maybe as a Brit who's lived half his life in Canada, I just don't get it. But I don't know why people are so obsessed with owning weapons that can cause so much carnage. Yes, have a loaded gun in your house for self-defense. I can understand that. I think we're too draconian in Canada, but maybe
because, Michael, the vast majority of gun owners are legal, law-abiding citizens.
The notion that a gun in your house is going to keep you safe is completely false.
Really?
Okay.
Because it can be stolen, it can be taken away from you.
Not if it's
it can be used against
No, actually, you're dead wrong. The laws in Canada are so strict about storage.
And the criminals are not going to break in and get access to your guns.
Do you know how hard it is to steal?
If they are there, they can be used against you just as much as you're using them.
Rubbish.
It's a false sense of security.
They're used against you.
The fact of the matter is we have a lower crime rate, and especially a lower violent crime rate, and by far lower deaths from guns in Canada, and we have fewer guns.
We don't have a massive underclass the way they do.
So now you're saying it's crime or lower class poverty that creates violence?
I didn't mention poverty. I mentioned
a lower class.
an underclass. There is an enormous multi-generational welfare-dependent underclass. Marion, be realistic here. There are no-go areas in every city in the United States. There is no no-go area anywhere in this country.
That's right.
So let's address
you're coming over
Did you hold my hand there?
I almost did.
Back in a few moments on the Rumble. Don't go away.
It's like a cold